Got my ears lowered. Nothing too good for you guys. Today, we may finish the pocket axe. Pour it in there. Whoops, there's more sheath over here. What a blessing to have another day in the wood shop. I've got about another hour we can spend together and see what we can get done with this axe. You know, I'm really grateful to two of my subscribers. First is Jets369, and the second is Heather. And they basically suggested something that I didn't even know existed. It's been used by old, I believe, axe makers. I've done a little research on it, especially gunsmiths in the old country, in England, and that's called sooting. You ever heard of sooting? It's pretty self-explanatory. So one of the issues with doing these handles like this is knowing, what do Kenny Rogers say? You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to take material off and when to leave it. Yes, you can see some rub marks and there's a little bit of black going on there, but sooting is, for the best I understand it, it can be done a couple ways. So this is charcoal, some charcoal that I dug up out of the fire pit we have outside, and we're going to mash this into a powder and then take it and cover, kind of fill up and cover the inside of the eye. What's that going to do? Well, I think what it's going to do is it's going to leave impressions. It's going to leave impressions that may assist us in the final, which is the most critical, the hard part of the fitting process. Now, as I think it was, I forget, was it Heather or Jets? Jets369 said that how it should be done is you put it over a candle. So you put it over a candle and you let this, the smoke or the soot that comes off of there, and you kind of coat the inside of it. Now, I think that would work too. It's a little bit more tedious and time consuming, but I'm wondering why, if we just didn't quite kind of just crush this stuff up here into kind of a powder, why that wouldn't work. So we are going to give sooting a try today. So I've got my Nana's old salt shaker. I grabbed that. I thought, man, so one of these days it's going to come in handy. Those little containers are always nice. So I'm thinking as we'll put this stuff in here. Can we do that and kind of just crush it up? Crush it up. That one there might have not be burnt enough there. I think this stuff is, though. Crush it up into kind of a powder. Boy, who knew we were going to get into alchemy in the wood shop? I got this is what these is, an oak dowel, one of my trinels for timber framing. Works just fine. We'll just crush all this up. The flat side would probably work better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I mentioned earlier, I don't have to use that pointed like that. I got a woody part in there. Probably don't need that. Don't need those chunks in there. I mentioned what a blessing it is to come out here and to spend an hour with you guys in the wood shop. And it truly is. I guess it dawned on me this morning. We lose track of what a fine line, or what a razor's edge we live on as far as life and death. One heartbeat away, one breath away. I was reading this article. It was just such a tragedy of this female skier that was just 30 years old that died in an avalanche. As I was reading that article, that tragedy, I'll bet did it dawn on her when she woke up that morning that was her last? Did she do everything that she wanted to do? Did she? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. It's a tough thing, but I guess it's something that made me think about it. To remember these little things and having the ability to do the things that we enjoy doing in our hobbies is a tremendous, tremendous blessing, and not one of them should be taken for granted. All right, that looks good. Look at that. That's nice. That's really fine. That's pretty good. This to me appears to be a very sound method of doing it. We're going to find out here in a minute. So how do we get all that powder in there? Let's take a piece of this wide blue tape. We'll seal off the bottom, and then we'll just pour it in there. Whoops. Just pour it in there and shake it around a bit. probably didn't need that much in there, or mix that much up, did I? What if we just cover that with our thumb and give it a good shake and bake there? All right, I suppose that's all coated in there. We'll save that stuff. We'll use that for another time. All right, so I can see it's definitely coated in soot. Let's get off all the extra. I think we certainly don't need all the extra on the outside. That's just going to make things dirtier than they need to be. Let's just do our little sample test right there. So we need to go full on. Let's see what happened. What's it going to do? Now I think indeed that is very helpful. What do we have? We got a let's get a really nice pointer. We'll bring out something fancy. Nothing too good here. What do we see? What I'm seeing there. Whoops. Are you seeing the same thing? What I'm seeing. Let's bring it up close. What I'm seeing is that looks like a rub there, where these other areas where the soot has not rubbed off are probably about right. See, we're touching here. Or are we not touching? What is the soot telling us? What do we carve? Looks to me, that looks like a rub right there. Doesn't it look like one to you? And definitely right there. Let's take that off. So, let's talk about, I'm going to talk about carving knives here for a minute. So in the last video, I was carving, and I should have just went and got something else. It did work pretty good because it got down the points. This is my Paul Sellers inspired, the little marking knife. It works good for that. But what I was just kind of messing around as I was turning on the camera, I've got two other carving knives that I really like. This one's interesting. So this one I got the last time we were in Sweden, and the woman that was selling it, her husband made this beautiful birch bark sheath for me. Isn't that cool? And this right here is the knife that they use, the classic knife that they use for carving the Dalahäst. Those little iconic Swedish horses, the little toys. This is what they used. We went to the factory. It was fascinating. And the guy that did all the carving, he carved hundreds of these things every day, said, it's got to have the knob on it. It's got to have that little knob on there, and this having the little sheath on there, I think it makes it really charming. And this, I believe, is a Mora. No? What does it say there? It's made in, Mora. Mora. It's from Sweden. Eric Frost. Is that the Eric Frost knife? I don't know. Love this little knife. And then the other one, which I really like, and this was given from a subscriber a long time ago, was given to, I believe, no. This one came from my father-in-law. It was a gift to Jack. For carving small different things. And this one's really nice. It's got a great handle, and it's got a powerful little blade on there, and it's easy to sharpen. I like that one. And another knife that I use often is for these carving things is my beautiful Deering bushcrafting knife, which I kind of have been keeping it in the wood shop because I just use it all the time. And it's, oh, that's a beauty, isn't it? Just beautiful. After I did the video featuring this knife, John Deering, I believe. Look at the tapered tang on there, and a lot of work on that knife. Quit taking orders. There's so many orders for it. I don't know if he's taking orders anymore or if he's caught up. I haven't been on his site for a long time. But so the knife we're going to use for finished carving this is going to be the little flex cut. So we'll need to sharpen it. We wouldn't have a complete epic woodshop series without some sharpening in it. You know those times in life when you think, when you make a purchase and you wonder, oh, should I have spent that much money on this? Is it going to be something I'm going to use all the time? Is it worth it? Ooh, yeah. The diamond plate sharpeners, man, I just can't imagine not having them. I use them all the time. They're so good. I don't even buy utility knife blades rarely anymore because I sharpen my own because it's so simple. And I just here's the fine. Now the reason why I took it out of the case is, with the little box, is that I can't get close enough. So that's what's nice about it, is it's just so versatile. But this is I just go with the super fine. Super fine there. And it's a Scandi type of grind, chisel grind. And all you got to do A little bit more. I'm just using simple green here. All you gotta do is just round a couple times. Why it's squeaking. Flip it over. Tilt it up. Press a little bit on that tip. I want that tip to be sharp. So I'm pressing a little bit. I'll just do this 4 times. This is just the same way that you sharpen a utility knife, just a regular drywall knife blade. I don't know if it's worth it, but it just seems so wasteful to throw those things away. All right, how's that look? Oh man, that's sharp. There's only one thing left to do. It's to strop it, just to keep my leather strop here on the tail vise. I have 2 vices on my bench, one on the tail and one on the side. I definitely use this one the least, but it's really handy for things like this. Leather strap glued to a piece of pine with jeweler's rouge on it. That's all you need. Brings all those metal kind of whiskers as when you sharpen into a line. And man, that is sharp. Well, it's going to be a cutter now. Let's soot that one more time, and then we'll really drive it on there, and then take it off and see what we have. And hopefully this will be our last carving before it sits on there. And then we can finish the handle. The handle's not done. It's just a rough shape. But several of you said, I probably would fit that head before I put all that work into carving that handle, and I thought there was a lot of wisdom in that. In case we messed it up, then we wouldn't have wasted a lot of time. There, shake that around there. All right, I think we're good now. All right, now we're going to do the physics-defying maneuver here. The seating an axe head. Although it sounds very counterintuitive, or the wrong way to do it, people think that you seat the axe head this way. You'd pound it down on there, but you don't. You do it this way. You put it upside down. You start it with your hand, and then you give a good stroke on the handle, and it does indeed will drive it very, very firmly onto the shoulder. And basically what it's doing is that the head's got a bunch of mass into it, a bunch of weight, and you strike it so quickly that it forces it down before that mass can start moving, and it's the correct way you do it. Now, just a tip: if you're going to have like an ornate fawn's foot or something that's got a kind of a point on it, like some of you guys like to do, you want to wait and set the head, hang the head, and get all that done before you do this. Leave this long, because you don't want to strike on a point; it'll split it. Trust me, I've done it before. So I have a nice flat, unfinished surface there. Not to mention, if you do strike it wrong and chip a little corner off of it, you still have some room to grow there. Oh man, look at it. I don't think we need to pull it off anymore. Look at that. All I did that last time I sooted it, I just carved a couple of those spots that were dragging off there, and that seems to... Let's hit it one more time. We might need to... I hate to take it off too many times. It's so delicate that I'm afraid it's going to break. Oh, that's it. That's it right there. Look at that. We're a little proud on the top, just what I want it to be. Man, that's nice. That is nice. Well, it's really on there too. Oh yeah, it's great. Everything looks good. The hang looks good. Look at that. That handle is about perfect. Is it too long? What do you think? Is that too long? Man, I think it looks pretty good. We're gonna have, man, this is so great. They're gonna have a little bulge there. Come in there. That hourglass shape there where your hand fits in. Nothing feels better than that. This is great. Little work to do on the back side. This is a great little. This is one that I'm gonna have by the wood stove. That's what I'm gonna do. Make those little kindling pieces. It's gonna give me a pleasure every time I hold it. This is great. All right, let's get to work on the. Let's just go ahead and wedge it. I think it's time. Clean as you go, just like a pro. That's what Mrs. W says in her kitchen. Good advice. It's time for the hard decisions to be made. Check this out. Granddad, you think Granddad was an axe man? Have you ever seen so many step wedges? And was all his stuff. It was all in his things in my treasure chest of treasures out in the shop. I went through everything and picked them all up. But man, he's got a bunch of them. There's big ones. There's little ones. There's used ones. There's ones in packages. There was one I was going to show you here. That was, so if you don't know what these are step wedges, and they are designed, if you see there, right there, look at the way that's designed there. It's got basically got a barb in it. So as you drive it into the head of the axe, it's very unlikely that it will come back out. There's a little tiny one with only steps on one side. Let's bring you a little closer here. Let's look at some of these interesting ones. That one there, that's cool. I wonder why they only did it on one side. Maybe it was handmade. Oh, here's a little one I wanted to show you. Look at this one. Look how tiny that one is. That one's great. That's for a really small tool, isn't it? I don't know that there's ones any smaller than that. There's some big ones in here too. That one's pretty small too there. But yeah, I think that's probably the smallest one. This is a great big one here. Look at that one. Interesting, isn't it? One thing that was kind of a shame, well, let me show you here. So this was one of my great ideas a year, maybe a couple years ago. One of my subscribers, it was a machinist, and God bless him, made this for me. And what I was saying was, wouldn't it be nice to have the step wedges? Because this is aluminum, and I like aluminum step wedges instead of the wood. I've had, like, on really hard use tools like Pulaski's, I've had really good luck with them, but I had only a couple of them for my granddad's things, and I used them up, and I just didn't have them anymore. So I was lamenting about this, and one of my subscribers who was a machinist, he machined this for me, and the idea was you could cut it to length, whatever the width of your axe head was, and I thought, man, that is going to be perfect. But unfortunately, we got the steps going the wrong way. It steps on the front, so when you drive it into the wood, what it wants to do is it wants to tear up and to destroy the wood in the top of the handle, and there's nothing to keep it from going back out. So it was a great idea, but we just had the barbs going the wrong way. You can see there, but I don't know what I'm going to use that for. It'll come in handy one of these days. Oh, here's one I want to show you. This one's interesting. So this is really, I've seen this a lot in German axes, and it's a round wedge. And I dug this, I broke a handle on something, and I dug this out. I was hoping to kind of save it, and I beat it up so bad it's probably not worth saving. But I like the idea of this better because it pushes not from just two sides, but it pushes from every side. I think this is the way to go for bigger heads, especially like sledgehammers and things. But I don't think I've ever put one in, but I think it's a good way to go. Good morning, July 22nd. Beautiful Friday morning. We're having a rainstorm here. Boy, we had a thunderstorm, lightning last night that was just unprecedented for this area. My good friend that I volunteer with at the fire department is also a forester in the area. Was just stopped by for some coffee, and he's out patrolling all night and all morning, chasing down these lightning strikes. So in our area, wherever the lightning hits, we've got these really sophisticated maps now online and phone apps that will pinpoint the exact lightning strike. And so each one of those needs to be investigated. So he was out driving around and looking for those to head off any potential wildland fires. So very interesting. Nice to have the cool weather. The rain is very welcome. Mrs. W is very excited about that. We got a bunch of stuff planned today. We have to go into town. We've got to go by the dump. We got my truck's full of stuff. We got the old refrigerator and a whole bunch of stuff on the porch, and trying to get this place cleaned up. I want to get the trailer out of the front yard and start looking like a home again. I think Mrs. W is getting anxious to actually live and move into her new house. So what else we got going on? Well, I guess that's probably it. I thought we'd get further along in the axe video today, but well, we didn't. Just ran out of time. So next time we will we'll put the wedges in and seat the head, and it's gonna turn out nice. You know, after holding this little axe, and I thought it was maybe just a bit of a novelty, and you know, something that I'd hang on the wall with my collection, but after having it, handling it, and I really like it. I think it's going to be I'm going to keep it by the wood stove. I think it's going to be the perfect little tool for splitting small kindling for starting a fire. That'll give me great pleasure each time I handle it. It's quite a nice little tool. So I guess that's it. So thanks for watching. Oh, please take a moment, if you haven't already, to give a like, a thumbs up for this video. We really appreciate that. Please comment. We read all the comments on the new videos, and it inspires us and just keeps us going. So thanks. That's it. We'll see you guys on the next video.